I'm Jason. I live in Minnesota, and this past winter was really snowy and really cold. It was hard on the wildlife, so I started feeding the deer around my house. I put together this story about what I saw and what I learned.
Well, that was about $5 worth of corn, and I put it out here every single day. Now we'll go watch from the house and see what sort of critters show up tonight. We're back in the house now. Earlier we put the corn right down here out the window. I'm just going to set up the zoom lens on the camera now, and we'll watch and see what shows up. So the deer are coming, and I'm just going to move right over here, get a shot of them showing up. I don't mind spending the money on that corn because I really get a kick out of watching them out there. Plus, this winter's been very snowy and very cold, and that corn is actually helping them survive. Even when there's so much corn out there, they still fight with each other. So the big ones will chase the little ones off, and then the different family groups will fight with each other too. But I guess that's what happens in a situation like this, where the winter really limits the space and the resources, and everything that's left gets packed into such a small area and fight over what little is left. Now the deer have acres and acres of land around here where they can spend their time, but they're always coming from the same exact spot and on the same exact trail. So I think tomorrow we're going to head down that trail and see why it is that they're always coming from that same spot. Most of the winter has been awful. It's actually one of the top 5 worst winters here that we've had with all the cold and the snow. There's been over 60 days this winter that the temperatures dropped below zero. That's not just below freezing, it's below 0 Fahrenheit. So that means a minus in front of the temperature. This deep snow is so tough for them to walk through, they won't even move their trail 5 feet around to get around this branch. And you can see why, how much deeper it is off their trail. Wow. This looks like the little cozy spot where they might be hanging out. I can see why they like it down here. There's a lot less wind, a lot less snow too. Looks like they're actually able to paw through some of it, get to the old vegetation and even some moss down there. But I'm also noticing that they're really browsing the vegetation down here. So that's when they go along and they nip at all these shrubs. I've seen it on the other trails, but it looks really bad down here. It's not real nutritious for them, but when there's so much snow, that's the only food they can get at. And that's not great for the shrubs because if all the little leaf buds get nipped off, then they won't grow in the spring. This is really surprising how much they're damaging it down here, but I guess that's what happens when there's too many of them and all the resources are kind of limited. They get jammed in one little area, kind of tear it apart. Every single shrub is eaten away, even the thorny ones. And that's actually a really bad thing because the roots of these shrubs are what holds this stream bank together. In the spring, all the water is going to come from the farm fields down here and rush through here. And if the roots aren't holding the bank together, it's all going to get washed away. I guess this is what happens when maybe the population is too big for the resources to support when you get a winter like this or maybe a drought or something else. They start stressing other parts of the ecosystem and the whole problem just keeps getting worse. So now I kind of feel bad for feeding the deer, and I'm thinking that my few $100 spent on corn actually paid to get this stream bank washed away. I really get a kick out of watching the deer, but I'll probably be putting a couple in my freezer this fall.
Winter's over now, the deer are doing just fine, and there's lots of bouncy new fawns running around. But everything's not so great. This record-breaking winter has been followed by record-breaking floods this spring. And all the muddy creeks and rivers around here are carrying dirt over to the Mississippi River, and right down to the Gulf of Mexico.